All right, so here we are outside the grounds of the Florida RV show, which I don't understand that. Why are we outside the show? We're going to get into that in a minute, but here is the Lightship, which I have seen a couple of videos on, and I really know just a little bit about. First of all, this thing looks pretty amazing, but I want to really dive a little bit deeper into this with Nathan here from the company. Now, it's being towed by a Rivian, so you don't need a massive pickup truck. This is an electric to an electric setup right here. This one over here is already closed down for towing, which is pretty amazing. So I'm excited to learn about the Lightship, and let's check this out. So welcome again to another episode of Out of Spec Dave. So Nathan, thank you for coming on the channel. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming to chat.
I really don't know that much about this unit, but what I can tell you first glance is I think that is really cool. It's kind of like, remember the old Coleman pop? Now I'm a lot older than you are, but as a kid, those Coleman pop-up things, the fact that this goes down and then comes back up. But tell me about the value proposition of Lightship in terms of what is it that you're trying to bring to the market that's different and disruptive?
Yeah, what a great question. So one big problem that we're trying to tackle is if you're a current EV owner and you try to tow some type of RV behind you, you're going to be experiencing a huge amount of range loss as you have all that additional load on the system. We really try to give you all of that range loss back. So we do it in two ways. So one is through kind of the aerodynamics that you saw in the unit when it's lowered down. And then two is this trailer has kind of like a self-propulsion system built into it. So we call it Trek Drive. What that's going to do for you is the trailer's going to move its mass down the road rather than the tow vehicle having to pull the full weight of the trailer. So if you have an EV, you can get a much better range. If you have a gas-powered vehicle, you get nearly the same fuel economy as if you weren't even towing a trailer behind you at all.
Interesting. Okay, that's great. So how do you accomplish that with motor drive systems and batteries? Tell me about the technical details that you've got in here. What's the size of the kilowatt hours in the battery, and what's the output of these motors?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack in here.
Wow.
That powers a kind of standard traditional automotive style electric motor. That electric motor is able to propel the Lightship down the road for about 300 or so miles. So for example, with this Rivian and this Lightship here, those two we find that, 300 miles or so is about a good mark. And then at that point in time, you'll want to pull over and charge them. There's lots of different ways that you can charge. So you can go to a DC fast charger. You can go to a level 2 charging at like a campground or something like that. You can level 1 charge it from your house. And then you can also, it has regenerative braking built into it for coming down a mountain pass. And there's solar panels on the roof that are always charging it. So lots of different ways to juice it up.
What is the battery chemistry?
So it's just like the standard kind of like battery you would find in an EV.
Is it like LFP or a NMC?
I believe it's an LFP, but we're with one of the largest automotive manufacturers in the world.
Okay, and how fast does the battery charge if you're at a DC fast charger?
Yeah, so it can charge up to 150 kilowatts.
150 kilowatts.
So
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
So the benefit of having the unit push the truck, if you will, down the road, whether it's gas or EV, makes a lot of sense. But when you show up to an EV charger, and I'm on a big road trip going cross country, tell me what it is now. You can separate the truck, the Rivian, or in this case you're towing with a Rivian, from the Lightship itself.
Yep.
Can you move the Lightship around by itself?
So no, the Lightship doesn't have that like campsite maneuverability feature built into it. So a lot of times when you're traveling around the country, you might try to stop at a pull-through charger that has very easy access for a truck with a trailer.
I see.
Becoming more and more of those quite frequently.
Right.
We also find that if a lot of our customers are doing kind of a longer road trip, they might stop at a campground overnight and just plug it into the 50 amp there. If you leave it overnight at the 50 amp, it's going to be fully charged up and ready to go in the morning.
Just like even on a level 2 at home, you're going to be fine with that's great. Yeah, the design is very interesting. It's extremely tapered. Do you mind if we go inside?
Yeah, let's go inside and check it out.
And then I do want to see some of the mechanics on the outside as well, but this is very nicely. I mean, I'm 6'5", Nath. This is
you just might even fit in our shower too.
Yeah? Let me see. Okay.
We have one of the largest head heights of any shower in the industry.
Yeah, no worries. I'm totally in here. Yep. And you've got a shower curtain. So this is a nice design. No propane on board?
No propane, you don't need it. So with the battery pack the size that we have, that's all you need to power everything. So all of our amenities are going to be all electric.
Right.
Even down to my very favorite part of the kitchen over here.
Oh, wow, look at that.
So The reason we included the dishwasher is it's actually a water-saving feature, so it's going to be more water efficient to do your dishes in this dishwasher than by hand in the kitchen sink.
What's the size of the onboard freshwater tank?
You're going to have a 50-gallon freshwater tank.
Okay.
And then a 35-gallon gray water tank and a 30-gallon black water tank. So we found that, that tank size combined with our battery can lead somebody to do about a week or so off grid.
Right. Yeah. No, this is good. These windows are nice. They're I see the way they close, and then you have
Bug screens, and then you have privacy screens.
Privacy screens.
Yep.
Wow, very good. And refrigerator under here?
Correct. So you have a refrigerator and freezer in here. It's your refrigerator.
Yep.
And the freezer.
So tell me about the sleeping. How do you have that set up for?
So there's kind of two different sleeping spaces. We'll kind of start with the primary one up in the front. So this is our switchback lounge. So kind of by day, it's like a nice kind of couch area to sit at. And then by night, this is just going to unfold 180 degrees. It's become approximately queen-size sleeping space here.
I see.
The end of it extends out to right about here. It's as simple as just pulling on a tab. You can leave all of your bedding and everything inside of there. So that way, when it's ready to go to bed, you literally just unfold it and you're good to go. So that's the primary space. The secondary sleeping space is going to be right here. So this table drops down. You can put a cushion on top of it. And then you can sleep 2 additional people here in the dinette. So as configured, you could sleep about 4. We do have an option coming soon where you'd actually be able to have a bunk bed we call our Summit Sleeper that would come down out of the ceiling, and that would allow somebody to sleep up to 5.
Now, how many models do you have? Is it just the one that you have?
So right now we have 2 available for sale, and that's our Atmos trim, which you're in right now, and our Panos trim.
And price points for each?
So the Atmos is going to be $184,000, and the Panos is $151,000.
Okay.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for coming in.
I just can't believe this. How cool. So I was talking to your colleague, and I said, what's the difference? This is comical. What's the difference between this one and the one that I was sitting by? He's like, they're the same. I said, how could that be? This one is so tall, that one is so short. And then I learned, whoop, it comes right down. I can't even believe that.
Pretty cool, right?
So it must be great to tow.
It is. You're very sleek and aerodynamic when you have it in road mode over there.
Yeah.
You also have a really low center of gravity, which is really great because if you're out on a really windy day, you can be subject to some trailer sway or some crosswind kind of effects. And so with it lowered down, your center of gravity is so low, you don't really feel too much of that.
Yeah, I just can't get over what a smart design this is. And how high is the ceiling? You have no problem. Mr. 6'5" has no problem with this.
Yeah.
And everything, I just love how modern and sleek. This is sort of cool, right? What's under here?
So that's just some
under
storage and stuff under there.
There's a dishwasher?
Yeah, so this is my favorite part of the kitchen is going to be our dishwasher.
Oh my gosh,
no one
that's
wants to do
amazing.
dishes while they're camping, and with us, you don't have
That's
to.
exactly right.
Look,
Awesome.
Kathy, the practical reason why is it saves water, because you only have a small freshwater tank. So
That's
this will wash it. And then if you see the bathroom, there's a
Oh,
stand-up shower.
excuse me, photographer. Yes. Oh, yeah, stand-up shower. Okay, curtain comes around so nothing else has to get wet. Teeny tiny sink, but that's all you need. Wash your face, brush your teeth, wash your hands. Really great. It feels so light and so open, and just having, I'm going to call them skylights, whatever these lights are, just adds so much to the ambiance and to the light that's coming in.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
to me, this feels like the future. It feels very different than anything else that's over there.
Agreed.
At the RV. We got to figure out how to get you in there. I mean, I'm seriously like, I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. Why you're outside?
Well, next year we'd love to be inside
I'd like
there.
to help
Yeah,
in
we
whatever
would
way
love
I
that.
can.
Yeah,
We'd
I
love
think
that.
that's great.
That's wrong.
We would.
I
mean,
think
Pebble's
people
over
need
there,
to see this.
right? Pebble's there. Why are you not there?
Well, next year, hopefully, we'll
You're
be
gonna
able to
there,
have the
and
opportunity to
guys
go inside.
You got to go up.
Yeah.
You got to go up to Hershey as well. So I have a lot of things I'm thinking about here. The first thing I was thinking about was when we were talking about the fact that these wheels here are powered. Is it one motor or is
Yes.
it dual motor? Okay, one motor.
Yep.
And so how do you prevent from giving thrust in the rear to not have any stability issues? And how does that interactively measure? Like, for example, if you're going down a hill or and so explain that to me a little bit.
It's another great question. So kind of up here in the front is where a lot of the magic happens with our check drive sensor. So we have a force sensor right here. What that's going to be doing is that's always detecting what type of load is being applied to the trailer. So if the trailer senses via that force sensor that the tow vehicle is accelerating, the trailer knows to accelerate also. If the trailer senses the tow vehicle braking, the trailer is going to immediately cut off all of that assist, and then it's going to apply its regenerative brakes. So
Okay.
that way it's making thousands of calculations every second on what this tow vehicle is doing.
All right, the other thing is the HVAC system inside. I noticed there's nothing on top, so I would imagine from a height restriction, this is going to be a lot better than a lot of the units that we'll
Definitely.
see on the other side of the fence. But tell me about the HVAC system, because I've never seen, usually you see like the propane tanks up in
Right.
here and the nice little covers, but there's something else going on here. What is happening here?
So without those propane tanks, you have a lot of room that you can kind of work with here.
Right.
So this is the Aero Hub. It's what I like to call a lot of the kind of guts and bones that makes this RV work. But you have a lot of power electronics in here, and you have our HVAC system. So the HVAC system is an automotive style heat pump that's going to then plumb into the cabin. It plumbs in behind the seat back and around the kitchen about 270 degrees. The other kind of thing that's going on in here is, like I said, a lot of power electronics. So here you have the NACS inlet.
Okay.
So we have the NACS standard that we're using for DC fast charging. That's how you're going to also charge it at a campground via 50 amp or at a level 1 at home. Here you have a NEMA 1450 outlet. So you can discharge the Lightships at 50 amps. So say you had an EV that you needed to charge up. You can discharge the Lightship and share power to the EV. You can also use this as a backup source of power if power were to go out at your home to keep the lights on until
So
the
vehicle to
vehicle's
load
back on.
is
Yes,
basically what
vehicle
that
to
is.
load and vehicle to
And
home.
50 amps output?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
pretty
that's
fast.
good. So I know on the Out of Spec channel, I think it was on Out of Spec Reviews, Kyle had actually taken one of these Lightships and spent a lot of time with it. But I'm thinking about charging right now. Think about this. You've got the port up there.
Yep.
You've got the port over here. It seems like it would work if you're pulling into a station. Now, I don't know how many you would block, but if nobody's there at 2 in the morning or something like that, you could theoretically, it's not like you have to unhook the Lightship from your unit in order, you're able to charge both at the same time, right?
Yes, and that's kind of the whole idea is, this can charge at the same speed that this Rivian can. And so you can pull in, you can charge them both at the same time, go for an hour or so and keep going. There's a lot of pull-through charging infrastructure that also has multiple charge ports at pull-through chargers for tow vehicles plus vehicles. So that's another great place to go do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put a link in the description below where Kyle did a whole review on the Lightship. And these are built out in Colorado?
Correct, just outside of Denver, Colorado.
Just, what town are they?
In Broomfield, Colorado.
Broomfield.
Yep.
I'd like to come check that out
You
sometime.
should. We'd love to have you
That
by.
would be really cool. In the meantime, if you really want to go deeper dive on the Lightship, check out Kyle's video over on Out of Spec Reviews on the Lightship. And with that, I would like to say, Nathan, thank you so much for this
Dave, thank
overview
you.
video. I think the thing looks really cool. I like how it tapers in the front and the back. It looks really sleek, and I have a lot of room, and it seems very futuristic. The only problem I see is you're not on the other side of the fence.
Well, let's get there next year.
Well, I hope we get back in. We got a stamp to get back in. All right, well, everyone, thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. Nathan, thank you for this beautiful tour. And again, check out the full review on Out of Spec Reviews on the Lightship.